What's up guys, welcome back to the channel in another video. Today we're going to be discussing modern Zeppelins similar to the Hindenburg, big airships that are currently being designed and developed, and I find this topic incredibly interesting considering that airships and Zeppelins haven't been completely banned and outlawed because Goodyear still has a lot of blimps that fly all over the world. However, we're seeing interesting new developments approaching 2030 with big airships, namely the UK and France. So we're going to get into it. So the UK, the British, are currently making a hybrid air vehicle, or HAV, and it's called the Airlander 10/50 series. And France, the French people, are working on the Flying Whales LCA-60T airship blimp Zeppelin, presented in structured bullet And so today we're just going to talk all about their history, their design, the specifications, their propulsion, their performance, along with their design status as of today in mid-2026. We're also going to be discussing the hybrid Airlander and the Flying Whales, their applications, their benefits, along with their challenges, and also we're going to be comparing them, and all info in today's video is drawn from official sources, news, technical reports, and verified development updates. So, little company background and overview. So, the British Hybrid Air Vehicles, HAV, is an aerospace company specializing in hybrid airship technology, building on decades of lighter-than-air research. And the Airlander series blimp Zeppelin revives and modernizes hybrid airship concepts originally explored in the United States Army's canceled LEMV program. And the French Flying Whales is a French-Canadian company founded in 2012 by Sébastien Bogon, initially to support sustainable timber extraction for the French National Forests Office, or ONF, interestingly enough, and both programs develop hybrid airships that combine helium buoyancy, or aerostatic lift, with aerodynamic lift and vectored thrust for improved control, rather, and efficiency over traditional airships or heavy lift helicopters and aircrafts. And obviously the Airlander and the Flying Whales differ from the German 1930s era Hindenburg that sadly blew up. So Airlander designs are semi-rigid / kind of hybrid lifting body types. So the LCA-60T uses a rigid carbon composite lattice structure, and the Airlander targets versatile multi-role use. So they're making it for cargo, passengers, even perhaps surveillance in the future, and or humanitarian aid or some kind of extraction purposes. Now, the LCA-60T focuses primarily on heavy cargo, logistics in remote or infrastructure-poor areas on Earth. Both aim to reduce emissions dramatically compared to conventional aircraft and or helicopters, while requiring minimal ground infrastructure like unprepared surfaces or hover operations. So the Airlander 10 production version measures approximately 98 meters or 321 feet and 6 inches in length, and it features a distinctive flattened elliptical lifting body hull that generates significant aerodynamic lift in forward flight. Approximately 60% of lift comes from helium buoyancy, and the remainder from the hole shape and vectored thrust. Now, envelope volume is 38,000 m squared, meter squared, which is 1.3, a little over 1.3 million cuban feet. Now, the hull uses advanced multi-layer fabric, including Vectrin for strength and helium retention, with internal bullinets for pressure management. And it lands on unprepared surfaces using pneumatic skids or retractable gear, and it is effectively runway independent for many operations, and it's nicknamed the Flying Bum due to its distinctive shape during its early development, right? But the prototype, called the HAV 304 X LEMV, flew in 2016 to 2017 before being damaged and retired after gathering certification data. Now, production of the Airlander 10 has a refined lower drag shape, improved landing gear, and a more spacious customizable payload cabin compared to its prototype, with its maximum payload capability is around 10 tons or 10,000 kgs, and it can also carry up to 100 people, so 100 passengers, or about 130 at reduced range. Now, the max range reaches 4,000 nautical miles ferry. Practical range with full payload is around 2,000 nmi. Now, its endurance is up to 5 days of a manned operation, with significantly longer when unmanned or in loiter mode, kind of like how the Goodyear blimps just linger right up in the air. But the service ceiling is up to 20,000 feet with reduced payload at higher altitudes, obviously. And so the Airlander's cruise speed is about 55 to 70 knots, depending on configuration and load, and it is powered by four 325 HP or 242 kW turbocharged diesel V8 engines driving ducted vectored propellers. Now, thrust vectoring and variable pitch props provide precision control, including near VTOL capability and hover-like operations in some conditions, and the design supports optionally piloted or unmanned operations with redundant fly-by optics flight controls. Early hybrid electric versions from 2029 will replace two diesel engines with electric motors for about 90% emissions reduction. Full all-electric Airlander 10 is targeted for service by 2030, enabling zero-emission flight in many roles. Base diesel configuration already delivers up to 75% lower emissions than comparable conventional aircraft, and it offers very low noise and vibration levels, making it more suitable for passenger or even sensitive cargo missions. And the payload module is highly reconfigurable with cargo, passengers, ISR equipment, or mixed loads, and it can operate in instrument flight rules under IFR conditions and most weather once certified. HAV has received CAA Production Organization approval and EASA Design Organization approval. A dedicated manufacturing facility is under development in South Yorkshire, in Doncaster of the UK, United Kingdom, with capability for multiple units per year. Now, in Spain, Air Nostrum has reserved up to 20 Airlander 10 aircrafts for regional passenger and cargo services. Military interest includes a U.S. Navy postgraduate school studying logistics applications for the U.S. Navy and even Marines. The Airlander 10 is positioned as a bridge to larger variants and a path toward zero-carbon large aircraft. The Airlander 50 design and technical features include it's a scaled-up heavy lift variant of the Airlander technology, directly benefiting from the Airlander 10 development and testing, and it is designed for a 50-ton or 50,000 kg maximum payload. The overall length of the 50 Airlander is approximately 119 meters, with significantly larger envelope volume, about 103k meters squared, and the central payload cabin is about 30 meters long, wide enough to accommodate 6 standard 20-foot ISO shipping containers. In passenger configuration, it can carry up to 200 people at a time, with mixed cargo and or passenger loads are also possible. Now, the Airlander 50's range with maximum payload is about 2,200 kilometers, which is around 1,190 nmi. It retains the hybrid lift philosophy with helium, aerodynamic, and vectored thrust, but scaled for heavier freights. And the design is fully amphibious, capable of operating from land, water, even snow, ice, marsh, and sand. And it supports external sling loads for oversized items in addition to the cargo inside of it. And development is leveraging common systems and hardware proven on the Airlander 10. And a fully electric version of the Airlander 50 could enter service around 2033, offering major CO2 reductions per ton kilometers versus conventional freighters. Now, HAV has indicated the core technology is scalable further, with concepts up to 200-ton payload variants are even being discussed. Now, the target markets include remote mining, humanitarian aid, oversized freight, and regions with fragile or non-existent infrastructure. So very poor countries, perhaps these giant new modern airships will be helping out. Now let's talk about the French flying whales LCA-60T design and technical features that the French people are currently working on. So the LCA-60T, or Large Capacity Airship of 60 tons, that's what it stands for, is a rigid hybrid airship developed by the company Flying Whales. Its overall length is 200 meters, or for our American friends, that's about 656 feet, with a diameter of 50 meters and a height around 50 meters as well, which is roughly 15 stories tall. It features a rigid carbon fiber composite lattice airframe supporting the envelope, cargo hold, propulsion, and even its control surfaces. Now, the envelope contains 14 unpressurized helium cells with a total volume of about 100,000 meters squared, using patented technical textiles. The massive internal cargo holds measures about 96 meters long by 8 meters wide and 8 meters high, one of the largest in any aircraft. The maximum payload of the French Flying Whales is 60 tons or 60,000 kgs, with capability to load and unload while hovering, claimed world's first feature using ballast management. Now, it uses water ballast, which is pumped and sprayed as fine mist, or solid ballast for precise buoyancy control during hover load exchange. Distributed propulsion includes 32 electric propellers, roughly 200 kW each, powered by a 4 MW hybrid electric system. Power comes from 4 gas turbines of PT6 family, each driving 1 MW Honeywell generator plus lithium-ion batteries for peak loads and redundancy. Now, the max speed is 100 kilometers per hour, which is 54 knots, and cruise speed is lower for efficient heavy lift missions. Now, maximum altitude with full 60-ton payload is about 3,000 meters or 10,000 feet, and typical mission range is 100 to a little over 300 kilometers for heavy loads, and maximum ferry range approaches about 1,000 kilometers. Now, endurance exceeds 10 hours for typical missions, and it is designed as a VTOL or hover-capable platform with excellent low-speed control via distributed electric propulsion with its fins. Now, crew complement is 3, the pilot, co-pilot, and the load exchange officer in a forward gondola. The rigid structure allows it to handle heavy concentrated loads and external sling operations more readily than non-rigid designs. Flying Whales, the company, passed Critical Design Review, or CDR, on the redesigned LCA-60T in April of 2024 and moved into validation testing, including the Iron Whale, Power Whale, and Dino Whale benches. The first flight is targeted for this year of 2026, and with type certification expected around 2027 next year or shortly after that. Now, the company has raised substantial funding, over 300 million euros cumulatively, and maintains a Quebec subsidiary with significant provincial investment. Now, key industrial partners include Safran, which is electric transmission systems, Honeywell for the generators, and Pratt & Whitney Canada company for the turbines. And there's also other companies involved, like Daher and Hermuria. Future development includes hydrogen propulsion pathways targeted for the 2030s via the company's Flying Works innovation arm, and the LCA-60T originated as a sustainable solution for logging in remote French forests without building roads or damaging the ecosystems. Now let's talk about performance, emissions, and operational advantages with both these, both the British and the French airship programs. So both designs dramatically reduce infrastructure needs compared to runways, roads, and helipads of the other conventional aircraft, obviously, right? And Airlander offers superior endurance and range for persistent or long-distance missions. And the LCA-60T excels at heavy single lifts in very difficult locations, really, right? Difficult, hard to get to access locations. And emission reductions for Airlander starts at around 75% for diesel and reach 90% above with hybrid electric or 0 to full electric versus comparable aircraft. And the LC hybrid electric operation is projected to cut greenhouse gases by nearly a factor of 10 versus equivalent helicopter or cargo aircraft operations in remote areas. And both are significantly quieter and produce far less vibration than helicopters when flying, which is a huge advantage, benefiting passengers, sensitive cargo, and communities. Operating costs are claimed to be substantially lower than heavy lift helicopters or even specialized cargo aircraft. And they enable true point-to-point transport, bypassing congested ports, damaged infrastructure, or environmentally sensitive terrain. Potential military and army roles include rapid deployment of supplies or even disaster relief and persistent ISR, especially with the Airlander. Now, development status, challenges, and future outlook of these airships. As of mid-2026, today, HAV is advancing production of Airlander 10 certification and factory setup with initial commercial service targeted before the end of the decade. So before 2030, they're trying to get these out. Now, Flying Whales, the French company, is in pre-flight integration and even ground testing phases, with first flight is imminent in the kind of next year window, right? And common challenges for both include helium supply and security, certification of novel aircraft categories, and even weather sensitivity, especially with high winds during ground operations, and even scaling manufacturing is going to be difficult. Now, public and investor perception of airships remains a hurdle despite modern hybrid designs addressing historical limitations. No need to vent the helium constantly due to hybrid lift technology. And both the British and French programs benefit from growing interest in sustainable aviation and logistics solutions for remote regions, decarbonization goals, and even resilience against infrastructure failures. The technologies are complementary rather than direct competitors, with Airlander emphasizes versatility and endurance, but the French LCA-60T emphasizes maximum heavy cargo capability and the most difficult to reach locations and countries. But hopefully you guys learned something and enjoyed watching. Airships interest me a lot. I grew up as a kid loving the Hindenburg. I loved how it was featured in Indiana Jones, and it's very interesting how most people on board the Hindenburg actually survived, even with it being more dangerous and primitive technology compared to these Airlander and the Flying Whales airships. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys found this video fun to watch and learned something about blimps and Zeppelins. Leave a like, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. It does help me out a lot in the algorithm. I spend a lot of time on the channel, so I'd appreciate it. Only takes a few seconds. Subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell, that way you actually don't miss any videos that I post in the future. And check out my older stuff, older content on the channel. Take a look, lots of videos to binge watch of all sorts of topics. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.